Hello, I'm Otto, and welcome to episode 6 of my Factorio 2.0 guide. So in the last episode, we expanded some power, got some power over here. We did some more research and set up our red belts. We updated. We did the gears here to set up for the red belts, and then we took out some biters up here to make room for the extra pollution that the coal and the boilers would be making. And then I spent a fair amount of time afterwards clearing out some trees, as you can see. Again, I don't know if in the future I will be able to just swiftly do that, or if I have to edit it out, but whichever one you just saw, there you go, that answers the question. Again, just as a reminder, like I'm recording every single video up to launching a rocket before I even post the first episode, so yeah, there's that. So in this episode, we need to start prepping our main smelting area. So there's a couple things that we need to watch out for. One, we can actually just take this guy here. This is one of the great things about Factorios. You can very specifically say, I want this area, and we're just gonna flop it down, I don't know, somewhere over here. I should be able to, okay, I almost forgot to mention, because of the nature of how things line up, we do have to actually move some of our ghost big electric power poles. So we just need to make sure that they come down and line up with, at least line up with our Roboport. So whenever I paste, so this was the last thing that I cut, and I can actually scroll through my pasted options. So if you hold shift and mouse wheel, you can see the different things that we've copied, and we're going to just test the bounds and make sure that that's going to be right. And look, that fits perfectly. So there's a couple things that we need to pay attention to. One, our bus is going to start over here, so let me just find the center. So this is where our bus is going to start, right along this line here. So we're gonna ghost this in for a second. When we're setting up the smelting area, we are going to be setting up for 4 belts worth of iron. So we're gonna have 2 iron here, 2 iron here-ish, and then we're gonna have 4 copper. I think this is where I line this up. It might have to go, I think our iron actually comes down here. So we're gonna have 2 iron here, 2 iron here. We're gonna have 2 copper here and 2 copper here. And we're gonna have a steel here and a steel here. And we're gonna squeeze in 2 stone bricks right here. And that's all the stuff, that's all the smelting that we will need. So even though we're setting it up for 4 lanes of iron and 4 lanes of copper, we are actually going to prep for 6 lanes. Why? Most players, when they set up a bus, it's going to look something like this. So you have 4 lanes, and then you skip 2, and then you have 4 more lanes. So let's say that you would have iron here, copper here, and then you skip 2 and have, I don't know, let's say 2 lanes of green circuits, 1 lane of something that we will get in the future, red circuits, 1 lane of blue circuits. All of these will, we'll eventually get to, but we need to make room for them. And then you would skip 2 and have, so you get the point, right? And if you wanted to, like, say, double up on some of these, you might have these as these as iron ore. Wow, not iron ore. Iron plates. These as iron plates. Copper plates, more copper plates, and you kind of get the idea. I definitely prefer not to play like this. And the main reason why people do this is because the underground belts for the yellow undergrounds, this is the maximum that they can travel. And that's kind of why. And you leave 2 spaces to fit the maximum. So your belts would then squeeze in between your undergrounds. We, however, are going straight into reds, right? So if we're gonna change these because we're starting to craft the reds right now. So we are ready to upgrade underground and splitters. So with the reds, we are going to go 6 wide. And the reason for that is the undergrounds can go 6 wide. How about that? So they can go farther. And as you're upgrading, I'm gonna go to Factoriopedia and go to the blue one. I'm gonna pipette this and ghost it. So you can kind of see these go 8 wide. So the better the belt, the better the underground. Like they travel farther. So we will be setting up like this for 6 lanes. And again, we're only gonna actually have 4 lanes that are going to be active until later on in the game, but we are setting up for 6. This is setting up for future success. That's, you know, in Factorio, the less that you have to destroy and deconstruct, the more that you can just repurpose or leave, the better. Like those are the best builds. Now, we are going to be tearing down all of this. Believe it or not, all of this will eventually come out. And that's just kind of an inevitability. Like we're making this very, very tiny belt bus base so that we can collect materials for the actual bus base. So there are a few different things that we need to know and understand. So first off, I've tried a couple of different ways. Like I actually tried, like I've played with having 2 gaps. You can see that the green is 2 gaps. I've tried with 3 gaps. The 3 you would think would help you do some of the logistical stuff, and at the end of the day, I feel like the 2 wide gap, it just kind of works. Also, I've already played through this and have done a crap ton of testing for this guide, so I also happen to know that with my new blueprint, check this out. We're gonna do 2, do 6, skip 2, do 6, skip 2, do 6, skip 2, and look at that. This just perfectly lines up between the roboports. So that's what we're gonna do. Now we are going to use something that we do not have access to. So we're gonna alt left click and we're gonna go into logistics. We are going to use something called a constant combinator. So what are we doing with this? Well, I'm gonna Q pipette this and I'm just gonna put it on my bars. I just need to be able to ghost this in somewhere. So we're gonna walk back and let's just do the exact same thing that we just did. So we're gonna copy, skip 2, and these line up, right? Yes. So we are gonna use these as kind of, these are like markers. So now let me get rid of these and I can show you exactly what I mean. So we can set things up in these and we will deep dive, like quote unquote deep dive into the constant combinators later. We will actively be using this, especially when we deal with our trains. So I'm not going to go into the purpose of the constant combinator. Okay, well, maybe a little bit. The purpose of the constant combinator is to set out a constant signal. The signals can basically be literally any icon in the game, so it kind of doesn't matter what the signal is. The only thing that the signal needs to do is effectively just, it needs to do exactly what you need it for. So what we will be doing it for, using it for, is we will be setting, when we set in requests in our future train, future train setup, we might be requesting in, let's say, iron plates, and we will say we want a certain amount of iron plates in, and this is how we request in. Again, I will get into all that. I have done a little bit of play testing and recording and showing off to my wife and different stuff like that. She seems to think that the train videos will by far be some of my most popular, and I do not disagree with her, because the way that I deal with trains and the city blocks and how I request in, it's maybe a little too complicated, but it works, and it works well. So we're gonna dig into that. So if you know, that's around, I think, episode 30. So if you are interested in how to set up trains, I will show you how I set mine up, and hopefully you can then use that to apply it to your game, or if you are following along and doing what I'm doing, then you can just kind of match it. So we're gonna set up a list of things that we want. Now, you as a new player, if you are a new player, if you're a veteran and watching this, then you probably have some idea. There's a few things that are practically guaranteed to be on the bus. A full section of iron is very common. A full section of copper plates is also very common. So generally you will see, let's say a third of your entire bus is literally just these two materials. We are kind of going in order of like importance or how much we're using them. So here we're gonna have the green circuits, the electronic circuits, and we are gonna make space for 4 lanes. This one will be red circuits. This one will be for blue circuits. Now, at this point, we are halfway through. A lot of these are a little bit more scattered. So we have, these are all solids, and up here will be solids. And there's some things that, because I'm doing 6 wide, we will have room that a lot of other people won't have room. We're gonna be doing some things because the idea of this is, yes, to get you through the base game, but the kind of goal is like, hopefully if you've made it to a certain point, you're probably likely to get the DLC. So I want to also set you up for future success in the DLC. So there are some things that we're going to be adding to the bus that don't necessarily make sense in the context of the base version of the game, but will absolutely make sense if and when you get the DLC. And I'll explain some of that later. Maybe even, we'll just get through this first. So, the first one is we need steel. Now, you need about 5 belts worth of I keep switching those back and forth. My goodness. You need about 5 belts worth of iron to equal the same density as 1 steel. Because if you remember, let's just look at this here. 1 iron plate needs 1 iron ore, and it takes 3.2 seconds to craft. 1 steel takes 16 seconds to craft, 5 times longer, and also needs 5 times as much. It needs 5 iron plates. So it also, by this needs 5 iron ore. So 5 iron ore to make 1 steel plate, and that's part of why we have this setup here, where we're crafting the iron plates first, and then we craft the steel from direct insertion here. And sure, this is saturated, and you know what, the stuff that uses steel for the most part doesn't use that much. Like, we will definitely be burning through these way faster than we do the steel plates, at least until we get to, let's say, purple science. Purple science is going to be the big sucker of this, and maybe initially our maul. Like, our maul will suck a lot of that out too. So before, I used to make room for 2 steel. This was largely not necessary, and because of some of the future proofing that we're going to be doing, we are going to be doing something that you probably wouldn't ever see anyone else do. We're actually not going to be doing 2 steel. We're going to be doing an iron ore. So this lane is literally purely dedicated to one single item. I know that sounds weird, but and that item is here. Concrete needs iron ore. We are going to be making concrete off of our bus because we are doing this 6 wide. We have extra room for stuff, as I previously stated. If you were doing a 4 lane, you would not have this on the bus, and you will see the same thing with liquids here. There are some things that you have to have, like the 4 slots would have to be, and there are 2 that we just kind of add them because we can, and because, well, we'll get into that. Okay, so we need steel, we need iron ore, we need stone, brick. We're gonna start with stone brick because I know it's really hard to kind of just show you with, hey, this looks like a bunch of nothing faded stuff. We are going to have stone brick being crafted in this area here, and the stone brick is going to come and join the bus this way, and our stone line is actually going to go higher than that and farther out and down the back of the line, so it's so the 2 don't like overlap and we don't have to use undergrounds. We're going to do the stone brick first, and then immediately after that we are going to do stone. So that's a lot of this. And again, if you were doing 4 wide, you would just do like steel. You would do, I'll just map all this out. You were doing this 4 wide, you would have 4 iron, 4 copper, probably 2 green circuits, 1 red, 1 blue. You'd have steel, you would have stone brick, you would have stone, and you would have coal. We probably won't be using this slot as much, at least in my testing it's not necessary, but we are gonna give space for 2 coal. This is our fluid section, so if you were just doing 4, you need bare minimum oil, and then you need petroleum gas, which is the first quote-unquote liquid. We'll just call it a liquid because even though it's technically, you know, it says gas, they all act as liquid. So you would need oil, petroleum gas, light oil or rocket fuel, and lubricant, which you would need for electric motors, which make your flying robot frames, and the flying robot frames make robots. So lubricant is directly tied, or I guess through, you know, proximity of different materials, is what makes robots. And robots are our buddies. We love the robots. And lubricant also is used to make, well, let's just go into it. It's used to make the blue belts. There you go. That's all that it's used for, is electric engines, electric motors, and the blue belts. And I don't know if I've stated it, but along with the undergrounds being better, we can look at this. This at the very bottom shows belt speed of 15 per second. Now I think I mentioned this earlier, maybe not. So this is 7.5 per lane per second. The red belts give us 30 items per second, so that's 15 items per lane per second. The blue belts give us 45, so it goes up in increments of 15. So the blue belts will give us 45 items per second, which is 22.5 per lane. Now the 22.5 per lane, not a huge thing to really pay attention to, or the 15 per lane in the case of the red belts. We will mostly be using red belts in this playthrough. But it is noteworthy. So if you have a full belt coming in, it's 30 items per second. If you have like half of a full belt, sorry, a full half belt, then it is 15 items per second while we're using the reds. Okay, so these are the 4 items that you would have on your bus if you were only doing 4 wide. Since we have the extra capacity, and I know from experience that I need to have these be different, we are adding water, which is something that you definitely don't see. The second one's going to be oil, and then we're going to do petroleum gas. We're going to do light oil. Lubricant is in the middle. And just because we can, we're going to put sulfuric acid on the top. Now, again, sulfuric acid is water you wouldn't normally have because, you know, you would probably just belt it in from somewhere. But once we add water in here and drag it all the way over here, you will see why we kind of, you know, don't want to try to bring it in from anywhere else for starters. And two, why it's, you know, fluids are... let's just put it this way. Fluids are so much better in 2.0 than they are in 1.0. And because they were so much better in 2.0, they actually had to find a way to nerf it. And the way that they were able to nerf it was when you place liquids in pipes, you are allowed... you see on the right-hand side, pipeline extent. So this is 6 slots. You are allowed up to 320 tiles before you have to insert a pump. And the pipes nowadays are fluid, are throughput unlimited. So however much you can pump into it is an unlimited throughput, and that much will come out the other side until you have to insert a pump, and then you are limited by however many pumps you have. So you would have to do some weird like pump stacking situations if you had like a ton coming in. That's generally not a problem in the base game. That's only a big problem in the expansion, in the Space Age DLC. Okay, so where were we? Water, oil, petroleum gas, light oil, and lubricant. And to be fair, the crude oil pretty much makes all of these, and yeah, pretty much makes this one too. So it's largely based off of oil. Now, I've played the seed before, so I know that there's oil. We have not unlocked it yet. There is oil right here. There's oil right here, and there's also oil kind of down here, and oil back here. There's also a really massive one up here, but we will, you know, cross that bridge when we get there. Sulfuric acid is generally something that people don't put on the bus. The reason why I'm doing it is, we can. I have 6 slots, right? And funny enough, our sulfuric acid build will actually end up right here. So isn't that convenient? Or is it here? I think it's right here. Actually, I think I might have gone back to... No, this is accurate. All right, so it's going to end up... Our sulfuric acid build will end up here. In the future, after we build... after we do oil, and that will be after we do them all. And anyways, normally, if you had sulfuric acid, because sulfuric acid needs sulfur, the ingredients are iron, plate, and sulfur. So normally you would just make it on the spot. So if you needed, when you made blue circuits, you would make the sulfuric acid on the spot, and when you made batteries, you would make the acid on the spot. But we have the ability to put it on the bus, so we are going to put it on the bus. And another reason why I'm doing that is this seed is particularly harsh whenever it comes to uranium ore. You have to use a sulfuric acid every time you want to mine uranium. And our uranium is not on the map at the moment, but it is way up here in the corner. Very, very far away. So we do not want to belt it all the way. It's bad enough having to belt water from here to like here. If we had to belt sulfuric acid like all the way up here, it would be a nightmare. We're going to use a train. So just hold on to that idea. And our last bus slot, I need to hurry this up. We're getting a little too deep. Let's just see. We're going to do plastic times 2. This one is sulfur. This one is going to be batteries. So batteries is maybe something people put on the bus. Maybe not. Sometimes yes. This one is not necessarily something that we need to put on the bus until DLC. DLC makes this a lot more acceptable to put on the bus. A lot of times the LDS, it's largely just used for rocket parts, and it's also used for yellow science. So that's kind of the main reason why we put it on the bus, is our rocket parts for building rockets, which, you know, you'll see that soon, and our science packs. Now, well, okay, and satellite. Satellite is something that we do not make in the DLC. It's only something that's available, or that only something that was required in the base version. And in the last slot, this is probably going to be one of the most controversial ones. We are putting electric engine units. There's two reasons why I'm doing this. One, it lines up better with the DLC. There's a bunch of, let's say, end of novice machinery that I will make room for, that we will have, and I will let you know when we get there, that need electric engines. Plus, it just makes certain builds easier to manage, and specifically it makes our bots easier to manage because we just need flying robot frames. And in the DLC, you would also, like, your rocket silos, we're only going to make one for the base version of the game, but in the DLC you would be making a lot more, so it still requires electric engines, and you want more, and we would have the ability to make more because the engines are on the bus. So this is our bus, and we are going to leave these constant combinators here for the rest of the game. So technically we can just, oops, we will end up undergrounding these as we need. Okay, I'm not going to ghost them because, all right, well, if they stay ghosted, then we can just like oh my gosh, it actually, oh, but it's because I don't have anything on me. Here, let me just use the yellow belt. Watch this. Boop, it's gone. So we will have to just manually add it when it gets there. Anyways, how are we moving all this up to here? And how much room do we need? So if you remember, this is 24. And I believe I stated that we need not 24, we need 48. We need 48 to fill a full yellow belt. Oh, but auto, we are not using yellow belts, we are using red belts. That is correct. However, what is going to end up happening is we are eventually, yes, we're gonna upgrade these to red belts. I can just kind of show you something else too. So we're gonna use the upgrade planner, and we're gonna put that on our bars. If you right click the upgrade planner, you can make something into something else. The game kind of is smart enough to help you logic your way through this. So if we were to say do transportation belts, undergrounds, and splitters, this would give us immediately the option, and only option, to do the red or blue versions. So we can take that upgrade planner and boop, all of those now became red belts. Pretty sweet, huh? We will be using this at some point in the future to do the same thing with stone furnace into steel furnace. So once we do this the second time, all of these stone furnaces will upgrade to steel furnaces. The stone furnace has a crafting speed of 1. The steel furnace has a crafting speed of 2. So it doubles our output. The upgrade from yellow belts, which need 48 of the furnaces, doubled will match our red belt speed. Makes perfect sense, right? If you had blue, we are going to be making room for blue, but we are not going to be using blue. We will not be using blue until after we have destroyed all of this, but I'm gonna be making room for it anyways. Again, the whole purpose of this is we're kind of like future proofing. So if you got to a point where you were like, I just want to upgrade to blue belts and I'm not ready to remove my smelting, and I do realize a lot of what I'm saying doesn't make sense, but that's okay, we will eventually get there. So the output we need all the way up here. This guy also needs to go back, and Control V, I'm gonna mouse wheel. I'm going to make sure that we have room. Oh no. Sorry, there. So this is the space that we need. We need 72 we need 72 steel furnaces when we get to blue belts. If you left these as stone furnaces, you would need double. You would need 144 to fill a full blue belt. We are not dealing with that. So, get rid of this tree. I obviously missed a couple. So I'm just gonna copy this whole thing because the room that we need is purely based off the other side. So we might be shifting this, but we need to make sure that we can line this stuff up. So I am gonna line it up with this here. So this is the farthest out belt here, and then these will all just be one in, and one in. So whoops. One in. So this is our 4 belts, and they are going to come around and they're going to hit this curve and underground here. We are also going to need room for, whoops. No. So as we do this, we are also going to need room for 2 of the irons over here. And the reason why I want to make sure to leave some room here is because we are going to be using our balancer book by Mr. Rankist, and we're going to use in the 1x book, right click that, we are going to be using a belt balancer. Sorry, this is not a belt balancer, this is a lane balancer. So I'm going to shift that in, and I'm going to do the upgrade planner again, but instead of doing anything to the upgrade planner, we're going to reduce these by right clicking the blue to make it red. So this is kind of, we'll just copy and paste this. We'll just line it up the same. Here, let me do map view. It's a lot easier to line stuff up in remote view. So this is generally how our smelters are going to look. I don't think that leaves us enough room for the copper, so we might have to remove all these and push them back. These are going to have to go back with the roboports. We're going to Control X and move those back, and Control X and move that one back. Let me go into remote view. We're going to do the same thing with all the ones leading up. Generally, like, this is one of the only times that we're going to do this. There are going to be a couple more times in the future where we do have to just slightly move something that we, you know, because look at how nice and clean these squares were, and now it's all messed up. This is one of the rare times that we're going to do this. For the most part, everything that I build in this game will revolve around fitting within the limits that we set, fitting within the city block blueprint that we've created. I'm going to copy this, make sure to include those ones at the end. So this is going to give us the exact distance that we need to be. And remember that we need enough room to fit. We're going to need to fit 2. And this one, is this one going to work? Let's just stamp it and see. If not, we'll have to move all these back. We're going to have to move them back anyways, but I need room for the copper to come in here like this, and this is not going to be enough room, so I am going to have to move these back. So Control V. I know you probably didn't just catch what I did there, but I hit Control Z a few times to undo all of this stuff that I had done. There, that'll work. To a lot of Factorio players, what I just did there is kind of sacrilege. Like, you are not allowed to have, like, if you can't get, all right, I can, but they like to leave spaces. So anyways, everything needs to line up with this here. So we're gonna Control X and only stay within the parameters. And we're gonna back this up to here. We're gonna do the same thing for the other ones. Only cut exactly what we need. And back those up there. And we need all of these to line up on the front. That's very important. You will see why shortly. I am a little behind on time. So we are going to try to do this as quickly as possible. We are 35 minutes into this. I was hoping to be mostly almost done by now. Alright, so let's just go, go, go. Did that line everything up? I believe it did. And there we go. So this is what our iron, copper, copper. The steel, we're kind of just going to copy from over here. This is largely going to be similar. Control C. We'll just grab the whole thing here. And we are going to have to make some modifications. That's okay. We are going to aim to have this kind of in the center, maybe even closer to the RoboPort. So we're just going to come, we're going to come 2 out from the RoboPort. Maybe I should have lined it right up. Let's just put it right up against it. It's never a bad thing to have more room going down the center or a central location. Like this. And we'll deal with the stone. Whatever. We'll deal with the stone brick now. So we only need to copy half this. So half this is going to be this is 36. Yes, so 72. So this is what our stone brick will look like, and you can see this is where a lot of the problems start whenever we have stone. I am not deviating from what we are doing, and we are just gonna work with this. We can start out by not using this blueprint at all. I'm just gonna, oh no. So we're gonna just remove this for now. We know that we have room for it, and I'm gonna do the same thing with this steel. So we know we have room for another steel. We know we have room for another stone brick, and then some of our other materials like our stone and coal and potential stuff. That's all gonna come through there. And that's more or less how we are going to set this up. The incoming coal will actually be different, and the reason why, and I need to upgrade these. Did I need to upgrade anything else? I don't think so. So the reason why the coal is going to be slightly different is because it's coming in from a different direction. And what I had set up earlier is, I'm not going to say inefficient. Okay, it's not inefficient. They're both fine setups. So the one that we did use is just ever so slightly cheaper. We're going to be using more underground belts, doing it the way that I'm about to show you. More underground belts. Oh, I can't wait until night vision. Where did that line up? There. More underground belts. And our coal is going to be running right through this, but that's that's fine. Coal is going to come down through here somewhere and go along this line. Yep. Yes. So we're gonna, let's say, underground this at some point, and we're going to split it, and this is gonna underground out. Something like this. Darn you, autosave. And then the coal, after being split, come into here and do the feed in, and then we'll continue on via undergrounds. So I'm just gonna We're just gonna try to minimize the surface area for that and do something like this. This is steel, so this is a little bit different. There, we need to split it twice. One of these goes into here. Yep. And continues on through here, and then underground here. Some people like to make it look super nice. I mean, I just need it to function. And then this one will split from this line go into here. And then we need underground. This is not gonna make it all the way, so we'll just meet it in the middle. These are kind of, I'm not gonna say set in stone, but they're basically set in stone. Alright, so it's gonna look something like that, right? So I'm gonna copy this. Paste, paste. And you can see they're just gonna line up right. And then once we hook the coal up, you will see that it all works out. Okay, so we did, we need some research before we get going. We need landfill. I have a list here. Let's go with landfill. Screw the list. I need walls, because we need walls to get to military science. That's very important soon. Let's just go with inventory space. What does that give us? An extra 10 slots. Nice. And we'll just get some of the stuff that doesn't require military science yet. Alright, so we'll just leave it at that. That was all non-military stuff. Perfect. Well, I mean, except for yeah. Okay, we'll just move along. So we do need to prep a little bit of this. We're 42 minutes into this. I don't know if I will be able to catch up. I also don't know if 268 is enough that we, oh, right. We were not going to fill all of this in. So we're only going 48. Let's see where 48 gets us. Normally I only craft for 48. So you know what? Let's just, this is going to take a bit. I'm sorry. So we're actually going to look like this. Yep, so that's how that's going to look. So that's all we're filling out. Maybe I should spend some time filling this out a bit, because I mean, you already know what's going on. Oh, I don't need these anymore. Oh wait, I shouldn't have copied that. Yeah, we're going to deconstruction planner after I get, so similar to what we did with the upgrade planner here, we're gonna grab the deconstruction planner, we're gonna right click it, and we're going to remove all of the small electric poles. We do not want those in our builds. Get out of here. We are gonna be using the better ones. Do this in map view, it's a little bit easier. And I only need to get up to the stone brick there. Okay. The rest of them will be filled in with our medium electric poles, because we can just do 2 rows instead of 3. So that'll look more like this. So we'll have a layer on the top, and sorry, a layer up here like this, and a layer here. Yeah, so it's gonna look like that. And then this is going to be a section of, survey says 15, 16, 14. Can I get down? Is that gonna work? Nope, it's not. All right, it's gonna look like that. Oh no, not the light there. That'll work. All right, that's good enough. That'll cover all the stuff. You know what, we'll just move this one. Alright, I'll rearrange the lights after. Yeah, we'll get rid of the lights for now. Okay, these are all on the frontward side. Yes. Okay. That's what it's gonna look like. So I need to get some red. I bet our red belts are absolutely full because I've been talking for so long. Alright, so I am not going to make you suffer through all of these, but what I will say before I go is I'm going to speed this up. I'm going to do 1 iron here. I'm going to do 1 copper here. I'm going to do the steel, and I'm going to do the stone brick. And it's probably not necessary that we do that immediately. Let's see, in the next episode, we are going to be taking out some more biters. So we're going to go through these 2. We are going to do some more research. We're going to start belting in ore for the bus. So we're going to start with the iron here, and then we are going to go do the copper. For the copper, we kind of need the stone here before we do the copper. The reason why is we're going to need a lot of landfill, and this one is... we're going to dedicate this one pretty much just to landfill. Also, once we set up mining here, that's going to irritate these biters, so we will need to take care of them as well. We will set up the coal here to come down and fuel our smelters, and this iron here will come down to fuel our steel. The stone here will fill our stone line and our stone brick. Okay, so... maybe I will just wait and start doing that in the next episode. I might, yeah. I don't know how much of this I'll have time for, but anyways, 47 minutes is long enough. Okay, so I'm just gonna end it there. So yes, coming up, we are going to continue finishing the smelting. I have to have the smelting finished by episode 8. This is episode 6, so I will see you in the next episode, and thanks for watching.